This year's NFL draft class seems to create a lot of uncertainty, and with the draft being less than 1 week away, I would like you guys to know that this is probably the most deepest and most depth-heavy draft class we possibly have ever seen. There's a lot of guys who will probably go in the second, third round, hell, even May fourth round, who could have been drafted just as high as the first or second round. This is the class that you'll probably see a lot of guys' names that you recognize who were stars at their programs and who could have worked their way into first round draft picks. However, a lot of talent, and you'll see a lot of things happen. One thing we know for certain is that the top three picks are pretty much solidified, with Cam Ward, Carter, and Travis Hunter, the last two picks being interchangeable for whoever wants it. After the Jacksonville Jaguar pick, it seems like everything comes to best available, the team who's selecting, and the scheme fit. This is probably the deepest draft class we've seen. I mentioned quarterbacks probably being the biggest one where there's uncertainty, but one thing we also know is that the offensive line and defensive line is probably the biggest highlight of this year's draft class. But also the running back room is heavy. What if I tell you after Ashton Genty, you have Omarion Hampton who could be a late first rounder. You have RJ Harvey who can go in the sixth or seventh round out of UCF. You have the two Ohio State running backs in Travion Henderson and Quinshawn Junkins. And then you also have Ollie Gordon. That is a heavy running back room. Then you talk about the defensive edge class. You have Donovan Azuraku, who was projected to be first round, but depending on how teams select, he may go late second or he may fall into the late first round. This draft class is so deep that it's hard to really miss on guys. You may not have guys who can play right away or who may not be immediate starters, but with development, they'll fit on the roster and they'll be rotational guys who can make impact. Even the receiver class, we may not have heard a lot of buzz about it like we have in the past, but this receiver class is just as good. Tedderroll McMillan out of Arizona, Luther Burden, who had a down year at Missouri, was projected to be a first rounder who may go in the second or even third round. You have Matthew Golden, who's projected first round. You have Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. You have Emeka Ibuka out of Ohio State. This draft class is freaking loaded in terms of guys who may not be key contributors day one, but they will be rotational guys and will earn their way into being key contributors or superstars on their teams. So with this draft coming up, I want you guys to look at your teams and don't be upset with who you guys drafted. Think of what holes your teams need and how they filled them schematically. This is probably, again, the best draft class that we need for depth. And that's probably why we haven't heard a lot of noise in free agency. You guys let me know your thoughts on the process. And what are you excited most about with the NFL draft this year? Is it because it's in Green Bay or is it just your team and where you guys are picking? What does your team need? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you guys at the next video.